When you hear the words, "This is your duty," it is natural to wonder whether you are ready. You may look at your past and see mistakes. You may look at your present and feel doubt. But when something within you awakens, a quiet voice that feels deeper than ordinary thought, it is not by accident. It is a call to step beyond the familiar and to accept responsibility for the life you have been given. Many people wait for a perfect sign before they act. They want absolute certainty that their path is correct. But life rarely offers this. Instead, you are given a quiet sense of knowing that does not come from fear or ambition. It is the feeling that you have been prepared, often in unseen ways, for exactly this moment. To accept this duty is not to become proud or to believe you are more important than others. It is to recognize that your presence, your actions, and your choices matter. What you do affects the lives of others in ways you may never fully understand. When you take this seriously, you begin to move with greater sincerity. You listen more carefully, you speak with more purpose, and you act with more compassion. At times, you will feel overwhelmed. You will think you are not strong enough or wise enough to fulfill what has been asked of you. But the strength does not appear before you begin. It grows each time you return to your duty, especially when it feels difficult. Every step you take in faith plants a seed of courage. Every time you act with integrity, you remind yourself that you do not walk alone. If you feel cold, trust that this voice is not here to deceive you. It is the same intelligence that has shaped your life from the beginning. It will not ask you to become someone you are not. It will only ask you to become who you truly are, without apology and without fear. Your duty does not come from the outside. It is not given to you by the world, nor is it forced upon you by others. It arises from a deeper place, something that exists beneath the surface of thought, beneath emotion, beneath all the noise of daily life. When you become quiet, when you stop chasing distractions and sit with yourself, you may begin to hear it, a sense of direction, a quiet knowing. This is not the mind trying to convince you, it is something else. Something older, more still, and more real. Heng often reminds us that true purpose is not about what you want, but about what you are here to serve. And when you feel a sense of duty awaken within you, it is not about achieving greatness for your own name. It is about becoming useful to something beyond yourself. The ego seeks comfort, recognition, and control. But the deeper self seeks alignment, contribution, and truth. When you touch this place, your actions become clear. You are not moved by external rewards. You are moved by inner necessity. That is why this duty cannot be measured by how big or small it appears. It could be caring for someone, creating something meaningful, standing up when it would be easier to stay silent, or simply living with honesty in a dishonest world. Whatever form it takes, the strength of your duty does not depend on approval. It depends on how aligned it is with that deeper voice inside you. When you live from this place, doubt begins to fade. You may still feel fear, but you are no longer guided by it. You walk your path not because it is easy, but because it is yours. And in that quiet commitment, something sacred begins to unfold. Many people wait for certainty before they are willing to act. They imagine that at some moment a sign will appear so clear, so undeniable, that all fear and confusion will disappear. They believe that purpose must arrive with thunder, with flashing lights, or with perfect clarity. But in reality, life rarely offers such obvious signals. More often, it speaks in a softer voice, a quiet call that you can only hear when you become still enough to listen. Heng often reminds us that certainty is an illusion created by the mind. The mind wants guarantees because it is afraid to fail. It wants every outcome to be predictable, every step to be safe. But growth is not born from such conditions. Growth requires you to step forward even when you are unsure, to trust that you will find your strength through action, not before it. If you wait for absolute confirmation, you may never begin. You will stand at the edge of your own potential, watching life pass by, while you search for signs that never come in the way you expect. The true sign is the quiet knowing that will not leave you alone. It does not shout, it simply stays, patiently reminding you that there is something more you are meant to offer, something you are meant to embody. When you feel this call, it is not your task to analyze it endlessly. It is your task to honor it, to take the first step, however small, without needing the entire path to be visible. In doing so, you create a different relationship with uncertainty. You learn that clarity often follows commitment, not the other way around. This is why you must not dismiss the quiet knowing simply because it lacks drama. It is often in the most ordinary moments that you will feel it, a thought that returns again and again, a feeling of responsibility that does not fade. These are the real signs. They are subtle because they belong to a deeper intelligence within you. Heng teaches that when you trust this knowing, you begin to live with sincerity. You stop chasing validation. You stop waiting for everything to be perfect. And in that acceptance of uncertainty, you discover a hidden strength, the ability to walk your path without needing the world to approve or explain. When you accept that your actions have meaning beyond your own comfort, everything you do begins to take on a different weight. You no longer act only for yourself. You act because you recognize that every word you speak, every decision you make, has an impact that moves outward, often beyond anything you can measure. This is what it means to take your duty seriously. It is not about striving for perfection or creating a performance to impress others. It is about realizing that your presence leaves an imprint on the people and the spaces around you. Heng often reminds us that responsibility is not a burden, but a privilege. When you see that your actions carry consequence, you start to walk with more care. You listen with the intention to understand rather than to react. You speak with the intention to bring clarity rather than to defend your own position. You act with the intention to serve what is good and true, not simply what is convenient. This is how duty transforms the ordinary moments of life into something sacred. It is easy to underestimate the quiet power of your example. You may think that no one notices when you choose patience over anger or honesty over comfort. But in truth, every time you act with integrity, you give permission to others to do the same. You become a reminder that it is possible to live without being ruled by fear, greed, or resentment. This influence does not require any title or special status. It comes simply from the way you carry yourself. The world does not need more people pretending to be perfect. It needs more people willing to stand in their own truth, even when it feels vulnerable. When you fulfill your duty sincerely, you become a source of stability in a time when many feel lost. You offer an example of what it looks like to act from purpose rather than ego. Heng teaches that this is the essence of duty, to see your life not as a separate pursuit, but as something that contributes to a larger field. In this way, each action becomes an offering. And when you begin to live like this, you will find that the meaning you have been searching for is already present, woven through every small choice you make. There is a moment when the weight of your calling begins to feel overwhelming. Doubt rises, the mind whispers, "Who am I to do this?" You remember your failures, your weaknesses, the times you have fallen short, and you question whether you are truly capable. This is natural. It is the response of a mind that is used to comfort, that is afraid of stepping beyond the boundary of the known. But strength does not come before the journey begins. It is built along the way. Heng often teaches that courage is not the absence of fear. It is the ability to keep walking with fear beside you. When you feel unprepared, it is not a sign to turn back. It is a signal that you are entering new ground. You are being stretched into someone you have not yet become. And just like the body becomes stronger through resistance, the mind becomes clearer through pressure. You do not need to have every answer. You only need to take one step with sincerity and then another. In time, you will look back and realize that what once felt impossible has become a part of who you are. The discipline you feared became your stability. The doubt you felt became your teacher. The fatigue you carried became a sign that you were truly engaged with something meaningful. When you feel the weight of duty pressing on your shoulders, remember this: you are not carrying it alone. What you are called to do has also chosen you. Life has been preparing you, not through grand moments, but through quiet lessons, through pain, through joy, through every situation that has shaped your character. Heng reminds us that strength is not found in the avoidance of difficulty, but in the consistent return to your path, especially when it feels hard. And the strength you develop in this process is not loud. It is calm, rooted, silent. It shows itself not in what you say, but in how you continue. When you commit to your duty even while feeling uncertain, you awaken something deep within. You discover that true strength was never about being ready. It was about being willing. Willing to rise, to serve, and to grow in the face of your own doubt. When you feel a call deep within you, it is not the voice of your ambition or the echo of your fears. It is something older and more steady, a presence that has always been there, waiting for you to notice. This voice does not speak in shouts. It does not try to persuade you through force or urgency. Instead, it whispers in the quiet moments when your mind grows still enough to hear what lies beneath all your usual thoughts. Heng teaches that this call is not here to deceive you. It is here to bring you back to yourself. It will not demand that you become someone you are not. It will not require that you abandon your nature. Rather, it will ask you to see more clearly who you already are, stripped of all pretense, free from the masks you wear to feel acceptable or safe. This is why the call feels both intimate and challenging. It is intimate because it comes from the same source that gives you life. It is challenging because it asks you to step into a greater level of honesty, to acknowledge where you have been hiding, to admit where you have been avoiding your own potential, to recognize that you are capable of more than you have allowed yourself to believe. When you trust this voice, you begin to walk a different path. You stop measuring your actions by whether they will be approved or praised. You stop negotiating with your conscience in exchange for comfort. Instead, you act because it is what your heart knows to be right. Even if no one else sees it, you know, and that knowing becomes your compass. At times, this path will feel lonely. It will feel as though no one understands the reasons behind your choices. But solitude does not mean you are lost. Often, it means you are finally listening to something more authentic than the noise around you. Heng reminds us that this is the true beginning of freedom. When you trust that the voice within is not here to harm you but to guide you, you no longer need constant reassurance. You become anchored in something deeper than opinion or circumstance. And in that place, you find the courage to become fully yourself. When you feel that something within you has spoken, do not turn away from it simply because it does not come with certainty or comfort. That quiet voice is not concerned with your convenience. It is concerned with your truth. If you wait for a time when you feel fully prepared, you may never act. But if you are willing to take the first small step, you will find that each moment of sincerity strengthens you in ways you cannot yet imagine. Your duty is not to create perfection or to impress the world. Your duty is to live in alignment with what you know to be right, even when it feels difficult or lonely. In doing so, you offer an example to others that they too can trust what is most real within themselves. This is the path of integrity and purpose. It does not require that you become someone else. It asks only that you become who you have always been beneath fear and doubt. And when you walk this path with humility, you discover that life has been guiding you all along, preparing you to meet this moment exactly as you are.